Happy Tuesday. Welcome. My name is Tatiana. I am a business coach and mentor for women wanting to start their own stationery businesses. And I am doing what is starting to become a weekly live on here. I go live on YouTube and on Instagram. And so you are here watching the replay. Hello and thank you. Definitely comment down below. Let me know what kind of business you're either starting or business that you're running. And hello, everybody that is getting on. I hope you guys are having a good week so far. How is Tuesday for you? How is the week? How's the weather? What's going on over here in New Mexico, y'all? We have like a wind advisory going on today, and they were saying it could be up to 60 miles per hour winds. And I'm definitely seeing the result of that out of my window. So that is what we're dealing with. I decided we'll just stay inside today. We won't go anywhere just in case. But yeah, let me know. Comment, please. How's your week going? How was your weekend? We're still kind of fresh off of that as well. Passion for Purpose said busy. Okay, yeah, same here. I'm currently in the process of just getting ready to launch my 2022 planner line. So it is very busy for me over here as well. And we're also in the second week of virtual preschool for my daughter. So it's been really fun, but I'm happy to be finally getting into a groove with everything. Hey, Christina, I said, so happy to catch you live. I'm working on getting a stationery business up and running. Looking forward to launching my first product and ultimate monthly planner. Oh, congratulations. That's exciting. Very, very exciting. I love me a good monthly planner. That's actually something I'm working on as well. So you are in good company. And I'm wishing you all the best on that launch. And just as you guys are kind of popping in and out, if you see me looking in two different directions, I am live on my YouTube channel as well as on my Instagram page, just so that I can kind of touch everyone, because I know some people follow me on one or the other. And I always feel that the information I have is valuable to share. And so today I'm excited to talk to you guys about Q4 plans. I know we are kind of a couple weeks into Q4, and honestly, y'all, I just really sat down and kind of planned out my Q4 this past Sunday, just because of life. And like I mentioned, we just started with the virtual preschool for my daughter, so that was really more my focus the last couple of weeks and getting that all in order. But I'm really excited to chat about not only what you should be doing in this quarter, but also just to set yourself up for next year as well, because I think it's just as important to be thinking about that too, because we are going to look up, it's going to be Christmas, and then it's going to be New Year's, and we're going to be right back in January again. And so this is a great time to just start thinking about what you want your year to look like next year, how you want your holiday to go. And I'm just going to give you guys a couple of just tips and things to kind of get your mind working a little bit on what you can be doing. You asked, do you think it's good to launch a 90-day planner? Absolutely. As I always say with anything, definitely make sure that whatever you're launching is right for your particular audience, So, if you find that your customer base would really benefit from that, and especially if it's, like very niche down, even though 90 days is pretty niche down, but if it's like a specific thing that they go to that for during the 90 days, like if it's a 90-day fitness planner or a 90-day meal planner or, something like that, that could be even more appealing as well. But yeah, 90-day planner is really cool. And it's not as much of a commitment, because sometimes people don't want to use a planner for an entire year. So I think that's a great idea. But yeah, so if you guys have questions throughout this, please feel free to drop them in the chat. And if anyone is watching this replay later on, definitely still comment on this, and I'm happy to answer the questions later for you guys. So let's get right into it. And again, if you're popping in, also let me know how's your week going so far as well. So there's 4 things I want to kind of cover in this, but like Q4, 4 things, like I always have to be corny in some way, shape, or form. But the first part of this is really to set your goals and intentions for the remaining quarter, as well as Q1 of next year. So whenever I sit down to plan a quarter, not only am I always thinking about the upcoming quarter, But I'm also thinking about the one after that as well, because sometimes the decisions and things we make, the money that we're spending for our business, and just different things like that, it can really affect or it can dictate what's going to happen next in the next, so pretty much the next 6 months. So I always try to think a little bit beyond just the immediate, to just kind of think ahead of what can come up, what things are happening. And the biggest thing I would say when you're wanting to set goals and intentions, as far as like what does that even look like, is to really put numbers to it. So instead of just saying, for example, like, oh, I want to launch my business next year, instead of something like that, come up with a specific launch date. So then that way you have a date on your calendar that is staring back at you like, hey girl, you said that I was going to be launching on this date. Let's make it happen. If you're going to be launching a specific product, put a number to how many you want to sell, how much money you want to make. You really want to do that because it allows for you to have something to work towards versus it kind of just being like this open-ended goal of like, oh, I want to launch a product, but I have no idea how many I want to sell, or I don't know what is really considered selling out or what is really good. So you want to come up with what those numbers are going to mean for you. And I'm looking over at my notes if you guys are wondering where I'm looking at. And then you also want to give yourself enough time to make those goals happen. So this is specifically for anyone that is trying to launch a business in general. If let's say this is your first time thinking about this, or you've been thinking about it, but maybe you haven't taken any action steps yet, I am really big on taking your time to make sure that things are right. And I don't mean like, oh, taking a year to launch your business, but I do feel like 90 days is a good enough amount of time to really get clear on exactly what it is that you're trying to do for your business. Who is your audience specifically, because that's really important. What are your goals? What is your vision? Where do you see your business going in the next, 3 to 5 years? And even if you don't know every single answer, the more that you work through just kind of figuring out some of these gray areas and you really think about it and give yourself some time, the more clear it's going to be when you launch. So when I started the Stationary Muse 5 years ago, I really didn't know who my target audience was going to be. I didn't know how many, at the time I was doing A5 planner inserts, I didn't know how many inserts I wanted to sell. I didn't know any of these things. I just kind of was like, I'm going to do it. I barely made it to the launch, y'all. Okay. It took me a year to finally talk myself out of all of the just negative talk that I had and all of the limiting beliefs that I had about even starting the business to begin with. But then when I finally did it, I really just kind of dove in without much of a plan. And so I don't want that for you. And so this is really a great time for you to sit down during this quarter to start thinking about some of those things. And I actually talked about this, I believe, in my last live from last week. So make sure you watch that one. But you also want to figure out what can you realistically launch that makes sense within the next 90 days. So you don't want to overwhelm yourself with trying to launch something that requires you to have thousands of dollars. If that's not, if that's not your setup right now, something that doesn't require you to buy all of this equipment and have all of this free time that you don't have to create these handmade products and things like that. So really finding things that's going to make sense. This is all part of the part one that I'm saying is to set the goals and the intentions. So you really want to make sure that you know exactly what you're facing, what you're looking at down the line. And it's really going to help you a lot when it comes to all of the planning. And so the way that I usually do my planning, I'm looking over at my calendars here. I usually will have like my planning wall. I've talked about this in many of my videos in the past, but I have a planning wall that I do. And this doesn't have to be in an office in your home. This could be in a book that you have, in a planner, in a journal. You could do it if you like digital project management systems. I personally love ClickUp. You could do it in something like that. But you want to really visually have some calendars that you can look at, have some hard dates, and have some idea of what's going on, putting all of your personal events in there as well that can kind of conflict with things. If you know your kid's birthday is going to be on this weekend, well, it might not really be the best time to launch a product in the spring, or, whatever the case may be. So that's really what you're going to do to kind of figure out what to do for that Q1 planning. So, and if I mentioned before, I know a couple people have hopped on since I mentioned. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you guys again for joining me this afternoon. We're just talking about some just tips for planning for quarter four. So that's kind of the first part of it. And then the second part is that you really want to create a plan of action. So once you actually know what the things you're trying to do, what you're intending to do, okay, you want to launch, you want to create a planner, you want to um launch a program, whatever it might be. Once you figure that out, now it's like, okay, well, what are going to actually be my action steps to get there, right? So, half the battle is just even saying out of your mouth or writing it down that you want to do something, but then you have to actually act on that and figure out how to get there. So, the biggest tip I would say is to, of course, research, see what are the different steps and ways to get to that point. If you've seen my YouTube channel before, it's a resource for anyone that wants to start really any creative product based business, but specifically for stationery. So there's a ton of, it's a great place to get started because I absolutely love to help women. I talk about this all the time to help you guys to really figure out what are the missing gaps within the process, because that's typically what happens. It's like you want to figure out your plan of action, but then you get stuck somewhere. And then you fall into this pattern of like, okay, well, I don't know how to do that. So then another 6 months go by and then you pick it back up and you're like, oh, wait, okay, somebody posted a video about this. Let me learn a little bit more about it. Actively get out there and research. Don't allow one setback to stop you, because you're going to look up and it's going to be Q4 of next year and you're going to be like, dang, I still didn't get started. So creating a plan of action can really just look like saying, okay, this week I am going to learn about how to use my Silhouette machine, for anyone that might be trying to create stickers or something like that. It's a great example. Or, this week I really have no idea what they keep talking about. What is this target market thing? What does that mean? Let me go ahead and do some research on what a target market is. Okay, I really kind of want to get my business official. I've been hearing it's important to have a business bank account. What all do I really need for this? It's annoying sometimes to look these things up, but dedicate the week to kind of getting the information. That's what your plan of action is. If you look at everything and all you're thinking is, oh my gosh, I got to launch this business at the beginning of next year, it's going to feel overwhelming and it's going to feel scary. But if you look at it like, okay, this week I'm doing this one step, it's so much easier and it's a lot more of a breath of fresh air in a sense to really think like, okay, well, really, I'm just focusing on this one thing this week. And it makes it so much better. Hey, Tiana, she said, I'm in your course and I'm getting ready to bind my planner. Congratulations. That is exciting. Man, when I tell you, that there is no better feeling, whether it's a planner or anything that you're making, if it's by hand, whether you're getting it manufactured, there is no better feeling than holding something that you created in your hands for the first time. And I remember when I was getting ready to launch my planner last year, I was crying and shaking when I was like doing that, the binding and stuff. So I am really excited for you. Definitely send me a picture somehow, like email me or comment in the course or something. I would love to see your planner, and I'm really excited for you. That's really, really cool. But yeah, so with the plan of action, that's really what it's going to be. It's just trying to look at things a little bit smaller versus bigger. Once you kind of get down to it, the bigger picture was really setting the goals and intentions. Now your plan of action is going to be those little steps along the way. Now, one thing I will say to you guys, I always like to just throw in just quickly additional things that you can do if you are needing more help. I do have a training that is coming up on October 21st. So next Thursday, it will be taking place. The link is down in the description if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're on my Instagram, it's in my bio, but the training is called The First 10. And it will help you kind of answer some of these gray area things you might be feeling. If just as simple as like, how do I figure out who my target audience is? What are some of the first steps I need to get started? Those are going to be the questions that I'm going to be answering. I'm going to teach you a little bit about how to launch, how to create your first product. It's a little bit of everything. It's kind of where I'll do a touch point to just get you started so that you will have an actual plan of action so that you can sit down and put dates to it so that you can launch your business in the next 90 days. So if you're interested in that, make sure you click on the link to learn more about the First 10 training. I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that because it's coming up and it's very relevant to just creating a plan of action. So definitely check that out. Takia said, you are truly giving life, inspiration, and energy to the aspiring entrepreneur. So excited to start with creating my planner. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love this. So I really appreciate that. And I'm really happy to help in any way I can. I'm learning just as much as you guys are. And so I'm really happy that you are getting something from what I have to share. But the part three, because I want to make sure I stay on task and I don't want to keep y'all too long. Part three is to plan for the holidays as well as delays. So if you have already kind of started your launch process and maybe you know you're launching your business very soon, or maybe you already are in business, but you're getting ready to launch a brand new product. I really want to encourage you to start thinking about the holidays now if you haven't already. I know for me, the first like 2 years of my business, I acted like I didn't know that Black Friday was coming or Christmas was coming. And then I'll be sitting down the week or a couple of days before, like, ooh, what am I going to be doing? What sales am I going to be running? And scrambling around trying to figure this out. So right now, while it's still kind of calm, Halloween hasn't even happened yet. Like we're still pretty early in the quarter. It's a great time to sit down and figure out what you're going to do for the holidays. There's so many opportunities for people to come and shop with you and learn about your business. It's just people are kind of in a buying spirit during this time. So really approach it in a way that will be best to show people like gift ideas or things that they might need for themselves when they're starting the new year, especially if a lot of you guys are doing planners and things like that. We all know that people want a brand new planner at the beginning of the year. So this is the time to be thinking about like, okay, what are some creative ways that I can promote my planner during the holiday season that will make people realize like, okay, I need this planner for 2022 over this one and things like that. So just really sitting down and getting all of those dates. So, it's Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I think it's Small Business Saturday. I saw some other thing recently too that I didn't even know about within like that group of those days. I cannot remember it, y'all. Sunday, I think is something too, but I can't remember what it is. Then of course you have the days leading up to Christmas. I know some shops, they'll do like 12 days of Christmas, and then every day there might be a different sale going on. Or, maybe you might do a giveaway or just something special. Maybe that's just for like a small group of, maybe if you have a Facebook group or an email list or whatever the case is. This is the time to think about it now before you get into the hustle and bustle of everything that's coming up. So it's really important to think about the holiday. And as I mentioned before, delays is also something to think about because it's a crazy time. And so even like this year, I feel like it's going to be even more of delays just for a lot of things that are going on right now in the world. But even in a normal year, there are always delays around Christmas. And I think sometimes people forget that. So just like I was saying before, you want to put dates to things. If you are planning on launching something within this season, make sure that you do it and you're giving yourself enough time to get it to the people, especially if they're expecting it for Christmas or if they want it before the first of the year, because things are going to be sometimes taking weeks to get to people. So the biggest tip I would give is to look on if you're working with like different companies, look on their sites. Like if you have a manufacturer, for example, like a great one would be if you work with Printify or something like that, drop shipping. Look on there and see what they're saying is kind of like the last date to order for on-time Christmas delivery. Same thing with just USPS.com, UPS, FedEx. Look and see what they're saying is the last date. They pretty much all put this information out every year. You want to look and figure out what that date is and apply it to what you have going on for you. So it's definitely important to look at this because if you don't, you're going to be promising people something. You might be like, oh, okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ship out my products on December 13th, or I'm going to ship my products out on December 20th. And then they don't get to the people until January or something like that. So you really want to research that now so that you can really give that information to your customers ahead of time. So there's no confusion. Everybody knows what to expect. And it just really will help you just from just the stress of everything, the emails that people will send. You'll still get emails, I'm sure, but it'll kind of cut it down a little bit if you're very upfront about your processing times, how long things take to ship. And also, I mentioned this in my last YouTube video as well. Thank you, Lynette. Thank you so much for watching. Glad you guys are enjoying it. I mentioned it in my last YouTube video, but you really want to kind of look at the post office as like it's an additional team member in a sense, but it's a team member that you didn't train, y'all never met, but they are expected to kind of carry out the rest of your job for you. So you really have to remember that, even though you're not the one getting out there and doing it, it's still an extension of you. Right now, I actually have a lady, she ordered some stickers, y'all. And this is like no lie. She ordered some stickers from me. I want to say it was like the mid or end of September. She still has not gotten her stuff. She's been emailing back and forth with UPS. I believe it was UPS. I have to go back and check. It's one of the U's, USPS or UPS. She's emailing back and forth with them, and they told her that they no longer know where her package is. And on the tracking, it's showing that it'll be delivered, but it's saying it's delayed. So it gives like a date, but then it just says it's delayed. And I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do about this? Because these things don't happen that often, but when they do, I'm always like, okay. And then there was a lady last year, she ordered a planner. She actually lived out of the country, and her planner just never came, and it never came. And it was like months and months and months. And I want to say it was like April or May of this year, it came back to me. And it was just like, okay. So there's just weird things that happen. And there's never really the right protocol for what to do. You kind of just have to be prepared for those things and decide, like, okay, in the event that something like this happens, do I want to refund the customer? Do I want to try to, contact the deliverer, USPS or whoever it is, to kind of figure out what's going on? Do I want to ship out another one? Like, there's a lot of different things you can do, and it can be handled on a case-by-case basis. But it's definitely important to kind of figure out what you want to do in those situations, and at least think about it. So when it comes, you're not like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, like freaking out. So that's why I'm telling you now, because sometimes these are things that we don't anticipate when we're getting ready to launch a business, but it happens. It definitely happens. Let me see. Do you make your own stickers? Yes, I do. I do. I've been making my own stickers I've always made my own stickers. So there's not even a sense, but pretty much I've been in business for 5 years, and I've been selling stickers for about 4 of those. And I make them all on the Silhouette. So yeah, it's a good time. It's definitely got its ups and downs with just technology and those machines and stuff, but I enjoy it a lot. And I did miss one other question from earlier. I don't know if you're still on, so I apologize, but it says, how do you cut your A5 inserts when you did them? So with anything that I have from or just like different things. So yes, A5 inserts specifically, my Live Love Inspire planner, the original one, I use a heavy duty paper cutter. So it's like a really big, I think it's like called guillotine, I believe, but it's a really big paper cutter. I have it in my Amazon store, which I don't think I even have linked anywhere. But if you actually go on my YouTube channel, and if you see the video where I'm talking about how to bind a handmade notebook or journal, I think it's called that. It's linked there, but it's just like a really big cutter, and you like pull down on it, and it can cut up to, I believe, like 400 or 500 sheets of paper at a time. So that is what I use to do my A5 inserts. And I highly suggest, if you are planning on doing any kind of paper product and you're doing the paper cutting yourself, I highly suggest getting a heavy duty cutter like that. You don't want to be sitting there using one of the little paper trimmers, y'all. Like, you don't want to be doing it. So yeah, so that's definitely something you'll want to invest in for sure. Okay. And so then the last point, number 4, is to plan for time off to enjoy. Hi guys, thank you for getting on. I'm glad you're enjoying it. You want to plan for time off. So like I said, of course you want to plan for the holidays and things like that, but you also want to plan to enjoy it, because it happens really fast. And so for the last 2 years, I actually took some time where I would just kind of like put my shop on somewhat of a close. So you could do it so many different ways, and I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of different ways, but just 1 or 2. Let's just say like you closed it just for like the week. I think it's like about a week or so between Christmas and New Year's or something like that. Or, maybe you don't do anything a couple days before Christmas to New Year's, or however you want to do it. Everybody's is going to look a little bit different. Hey, Rita. Um, but the biggest thing is that you want to figure out, okay, how do I want my holiday season to look? I don't want to be overwhelmed. I don't want to be upset that I'm running this business and I have things I want to do and family is in town. And so really, again, when it kind of goes back to planning for the holidays, think about what you have coming up for the season. So if you know you're going to have guests, if you know you're going to be doing a lot of, like going to events and things like that, factor those things in now and think about them and see, does it make sense for you to continue taking orders, after a specific amount of time so that you can actually enjoy the holidays. Because as much as I love my customers and the support of my shop and I love my business, there is nothing like feeling conflicted when it's like, okay, I really want to go do something that's personal, but I have this mound of orders I need to take care of. It's not a good feeling at all. So really think about that. And so with that, one way you could do it is, let's say you decided, and once you kind of know the shipping delays that I've talked about, this will kind of help with you as well. But let's say, okay, I'm going to close my shop, and this is probably similar to what I'm going to do this year. I'm going to close my shop on December 20th. We'll just say that. By this point, I'm going to have all of my stuff shipped out. That will give me a couple days to prep for Christmas, to get ready for Christmas. And I'll be able to enjoy the new year, get ready to take my decorations down, get refocused for 2022 and stuff like that. And then I will reopen on X date. So just figuring that out alone is very helpful, because it's like, okay, you took the time to plan out time for yourself, the things that you want to do for your family, for your life, but you also are setting the intention of when you're going to reopen. And you put those dates on the calendar, and then you can have that announced. You can, share that with your audience so that they know what to expect from you. But you can let them know, like, hey, the last day for you to order is on this date. You don't need to give an explanation unless you really feel like you want to. I know I usually will just say, so that I can enjoy the time with my family. But I think it's important to think about all of this stuff now so that it doesn't catch you by surprise in December or on Black Friday. You're like, oh, shoot, I should run a sale. Like, this is the time to be thinking about this stuff. And so that's why I wanted to do this quick little Q4 action plan to just give you guys some ideas. So I hope that this was helpful. It sounds like that it was, from what everybody is saying in the comments. Of course, you're welcome. And that is pretty much all that I wanted to share. I'll stay on for a few more minutes just to see if anybody has any specific questions about anything. Again, definitely make sure that you check out the First 10 training. It is the training that I'm going to be doing on October 21st, and it's going to help you with the first 10 steps to get started. We're going to literally talk all about your mindset, your why, who should you be serving, how to launch, how to figure out your first product, how to create that. We're going to be talking about all those things, talking about launch strategy, planning for your next year. Like, we're going to cover everything. It's going to be about 90 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how long the Q&A portion is at the end. But definitely click the link so you can learn a little bit more about that, because I would love to see you guys there. And I would love to see everybody succeed for next year. So check that out. But yeah, if no one has any questions or anything, I'll definitely let you guys go. Let's see. You guys are welcome. Thank you for tuning in. And I hope that you have a good rest of your week. I'm going to wait about 30 more seconds and then I'll let you guys go, because I know stuff is always delayed when it comes in. But yeah. And I mentioned this at the beginning of the live, but we are in New Mexico here. We have a wind advisory for 60 miles an hour winds today, or up to, not exactly, but every place is a little bit different, like every city. And it just looks crazy out of this window, y'all. Like, the stuff is just blowing super crazy. You're welcome. Thank you for joining. All right, well, I'm going to go. Have a great rest of your week. Best of luck with Q4, you guys. I am planning on doing these lives pretty regularly, so I'll be back next week with another one for more tips and motivation and things like that. So I'll see you next time. Bye.